Yo, what is going on, everyone? It is Kyle here from SpeedBets, bringing you guys another UFC full card breakdown. I gave you guys the early picks a couple weeks ago. We're here to do the current in the week UFC 311 breakdown here. It's going to be less of a yap fest. My last video was pretty long-winded. I went a lot more in depth to everything. This one, with the exception of the first fight, because I'm a really big fan of one of the fighters, I'm going to be keeping it a little bit shorter, just giving you guys my method of victory, my just kind of how I see the fight going, and a little bit about the fighters, but I'm not going to go nearly as in depth as I did in the last one. So yeah, let's get right into this, man. Make sure you join the Discord if you're not already in there. Totally free to join. Trying to grow that a little bit. We can talk some MMA, we can talk some sports. We're doing football, basketball, hockey, giving out bets, all that fun stuff. Just join it right now. Starting off the early prelims, we have Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Clayton Carpenter. Now, I am a huge fan of Clayton Carpenter, and I'm here to tell you guys, I'm just going to get right to the point. I think Clayton Carpenter can win this fight. Tagir Ulanbekov is sitting at a massive minus 350 favorite right now, and I just think that's ridiculous. I don't think Tagir should be a minus 350 favorite. I understand the kind of Team Khabib thing. You have the Islam, you have Umar, you have Tagir. A lot of people are saying Team Khabib's going to go 3-0, but I think Team Khabib has the potential to go 2-1 here. I think Team Khabib could even go 1-2, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later on. Tagir Ulanbekov, obviously you look at the guy, you know what he's going to do. He's going forward, he's getting the takedowns, he's grappling you, he's going to try and choke you out. He does have a lot of finishes, coming off that win against Cody Durden, and then he was booked against Josh Van. Then he missed weight, looked terrible on the scales, the fight had to be scrapped. Now, for some reason, I feel like Tagir's height on this description here might be a little bit off. He kind of looks a lot more wiry. Kind of he's got that long, wiry man build, and he fights like it too. He does throw a little bit of a weird jab and straight. His 1-2 is pretty good. Tim Elliott showed us that he can get taken down, which is a good sign for Clayton Carpenter. That's kind of part of the reason why I'm picking Clayton Carpenter here. I mean, when he gets taken down, Tagir has a nice butterfly hook. He gets that underhook, shoots the butterfly in, kind of catches it. When Tim Elliott was taking him down with a single leg, he's throwing up that Sumigashi, that single leg butterfly kind of kick over. But dude, I think Clayton Carpenter's dealt with that before. Clayton Carpenter's seen a Sumigashi before. Let's get into Clayton Carpenter, man. What's there not to like about this guy? 4-time national Muay Thai champion, Golden Gloves boxing champion, IBJJF gi and no gi champ. I mean, he got in the LFA, he had a three-run stint in the LFA. Nominated for Submission of the Year, he won it. Nominated for Knockout of the Year and Fighter of the Year. Now, he only got the Submission of the Year, but are you kidding me? He fought twice in a year, and he was nominated for all of those things. This guy, his knee bar is incredibly slick. He got it in the first round. Then he had a 13-second head kick knockout. That's kind of put him in the headlines, got him on Dana White's radar. Brought him in, I believe he was supposed to fight Steve Erceg on the Contender Series. Something happened, Steve Erceg couldn't get over. So then they booked him against Edgar Chairez. Now, I watched this fight back. Edgar Chairez listed as the same height as Tagir Ulanbekov. And obviously a little bit more scrappy. Edgar Chairez is not a grappler. But on the feet, I do see similarities between him and Tagir. I think we can look at the striking exchanges, how kind of Chairez was getting the better of Carpenter in round one. But you know what Clayton Carpenter does? He doesn't give a shit. Head down, right to the gut, he's double-legging you. He's taking you down, he's getting the takedowns, and he's controlling. This guy's grappling is a next level for a prospect. A guy with 28, you don't see many guys that are 28 years old with this level of grappling. It's not like Bo Nickel wrestling, it's just pure grappling. He has takedowns, he has control, he has transitions, he has submissions. This guy is the truth. Now, this is a very hard matchup, okay? I'm not discrediting Tagir at all. I'm not calling Tagir a bum. This is a very tough matchup, but if Clayton Carpenter wins this, sky is the limit. I'm telling you guys right now, I think Clayton Carpenter, and you know what? Mark this down. Mark this down right now. I don't care. I don't think there's a way this can age badly because I don't think Tagir can finish Clayton Carpenter. I don't see that. And I think Clayton Carpenter can finish Tagir. I don't think Tagir is as good as the Khabibs, is as good as the Islams. He's not Umar. This guy has mid-striking. He has a decent 1-2. He's got a little bit of pop, but not really. He knocked down Cody Durden because that guy was winding up hooks to like way the fuck back here before he's throwing them. Clayton Carpenter is going to get on the inside. His hands are going to be close like this. He's going to throw that hook. The hook has power. I fully believe Clayton Carpenter has the potential to drop Tagir Ulanbekov on the feet. The only difficulty is going to be closing the range. I feel like Tagir might be closer to 5'8", 5'9". And the reach disadvantage for Clayton Carpenter is going to be evident. 4-inch reach disadvantage here. I think he can find his way to the inside. Clayton Carpenter's quick. When this guy wants a takedown, he gets the takedown. I don't care. He will take down Tagir. That is a promise. Tagir will hit the mat. And I think if Tagir hits the mat, if he doesn't instantly hit the butterfly sweep, if Clayton Carpenter can kind of like stand up a little bit on his feet, get on the balls of his feet so he doesn't get swept, I think he can pass the butterfly guard. I do think Clayton Carpenter can take Tagir's back. You can't say that about a lot of people in this flyweight division because there's not a lot of people with this high level of grappling. I do think Clayton Carpenter can take Tagir's back, and I think he can finish the fight. In my opinion, this is more or less, do you think Clayton Carpenter can finish Tagir on the ground? And I do. Because I think Tagir, he probably will take down Clayton Carpenter too. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I do think Tagir's a great grappler. But I think Clayton Carpenter's better. Clayton Carpenter, he's been there. He's seen that. This guy's been doing martial arts since he was like 5 or 6 years old. Now I know over in Dagestan, Tagir was probably like doing forearm workouts inside the womb. I do not care. I think Clayton Carpenter is a phenomenal fighter, and I have very high hopes for him in this division. Obviously, you could say I'm glazing a little bit. I am a huge Clayton Carpenter fan. I want to get this channel to the point where it's big enough to where I can start like interviewing fighters, because he's a pretty small fighter. I mean, like 5,000 followers on Instagram is pretty small for a guy who's got a couple UFC fights. So hopefully sometime in the future, hopefully on a win streak, I could secure a Clayton Carpenter interview. That'd be fucking sick, man. Clayton Carpenter is also trained out of MMA Labs. I mean, we're talking about these gyms. I mean, Tagir obviously trained out of that brother gym over there in Dagestan. Clayton Carpenter's trained out of MMA Labs. This guy's getting in some good work with great fighters. I think it's a very high-level gym, a very good gym for a prospect, especially in these lower weight classes. They seem to have a lot of success. I mean, if you just take like Kyler Phillips, Sean O'Malley, Marcus McGee, they're all bantamweights, and they're all relatively close to the rankings, if not in it. I mean, Sean O'Malley, let's face it, he's probably going to end up getting another title shot. Marcus McGee just snuck past Jonathan Martinez. Kyler Phillips, I mean, lose to Rob Font. I wouldn't say you're a fraud, but you're pretty damn good. I mean, Kyler Phillips has got some good wins under his belt. So let's get right to the pick. I think Clayton Carpenter is going to submit Tagir Ulanbekov. I'm calling a rear naked choke off of a scramble. He's going to find the back. When he gets the back, this guy is searching for that body triangle. He's reaching his hand down, grabbing his foot to lock it in while he's controlling the wrist. His grappling is slick. He is phenomenal on the ground. And I think he's going to get this done and submit the Dagestani to open the night. As it sits right now, this fight is very favored to go the distance. The over 2.5 is pretty heavily juiced, like minus 300. All I'm saying is I've seen an interview where Clayton Carpenter saying if he doesn't get the finish, it's not a loss, but it's pretty damn close. So I'm taking my shot. This guy's a fight finisher. I want to see Clayton Carpenter strangle Tagir Ulanbekov. Next fight up, we have Ricky Turcios taking on Bernardo Sopai. Now, Bernardo obviously coming off just shy of a year. I think it's around 10 months from that Vinicius Oliveira devastating knockout. He was looking really good up into that fight. I think it was 1-1. He was winning the third until that happened, and he kind of gassed out. Took the fight on super short notice. You can't really look too much into that. Obviously, a horrendous knockout. That was a bad one. But I think he's going to be all right. He's young enough. I think he's recovered. He's taken enough time. He's taking on Ricky Turcios. This guy's he's kind of a little bit of everything, but not really a ton of it all, if that makes any sort of sense. I mean, Ricky Turcios is not the best wrestler, but he has some all right grappling. He had Raul Rosas in some trouble on the ground. That's impressive. Raul Rosas is a pretty damn good grappler. Tried to rear naked choke him, a little bit of a low IQ move. I don't think you're ever going to get under the chin of Raul Rosas, but then Ricky Turcios is kind of high volume on the feet. He's always pumping out the jab. He's doing a little bit of everything, moving around, sticking, moving. I just don't think he's going to have the power that Bernardo Sopai is. I think Sopai is going to have a lot more power. He's going to have a lot more pop in his shots. He's going to have the wrestling advantage. I think he is going to take down Ricky Turcios. He doesn't have the best takedown defense. And I think Bernardo Sopai is going to win this fight by decision. Now, the odds in this fight are absolutely insane. It's like minus 400 for Sopai. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. I wouldn't go out there and encourage you guys to hammer down on Sopai at this line, because I do have a little bit of respect for Ricky Turcios. I'm not incredibly high on him, but I mean, you can't look past some of the stuff he's done back in the day. He's got a win against Steve Garcia over in Bellator. That's damn impressive. Steve Garcia's going on a run. That aged beautifully. Then he obviously beat Brady Easton on The Ultimate Fighter. Pretty good win there. Sadly, I mean, that's kind of the only real accomplishment he's had in the octagon. I mean, Dan Argueta, that's a good win. But then Kevin Natividad, not really. Amian Zahabi lost. Raul Rosas lost. He doesn't generally get finished too much. I mean, Mana Martinez got him with a knockout. Then Raul Rosas obviously subbed him. But I don't know. I think I think Sopai, he is going to have a little bit of pop. He might get a knockdown. He might hit some ground and pound that looks pretty bad. I think Tercio is going to be able to survive. Give me Sopai on the cards. And we have Rinya Nakamura taking on Muin Gufarov. Rinya Nakamura, I'm another guy that I'm pretty high on. He hasn't shown us all of that in the octagon yet, but I do think this guy has so much potential in this division. I mean, against Carlos Vera, he was chasing the finish. He just couldn't get it because Carlos Vera was trying to survive. Carlos Vera was not even trying to win the fight. He was just trying not to get finished at some point, in my opinion. It's hard to finish a guy that doesn't want to get finished. If that's like, for example, I do a little bit of jiu-jitsu. If I'm in a jiu-jitsu match, I can abandon everything and just focus on not getting tapped out if I want to lose the match, like just on the cards. Not really on the cards, I guess, just on like the score. If I want to lose by points in a jiu-jitsu match, I'm able to, okay? You can kind of do stuff to make yourself safe. You can be in a good position. You're not going to mount any offense. To mount offense, you have to take risk. Carlos Vera didn't seem like he wanted to take a single ounce of risk. And then we have Muin Gufarov over here. I just don't know. This guy, his last fight against Kyung Ho Kang, he was taken down a few times. Kind of a Tajiki guy. We're not seeing the wrestling that we thought maybe he had coming into the UFC. I mean, obviously he had a couple great knockouts in the LFA. Maybe the UFC didn't really think he lost to Chad Henniger on the Contender Series. Pretty close fight, competitive fight. Chad Henniger hasn't been all that in the UFC. I mean, I think the guy lost to Jose Johnson. Whatever, I mean, that is what it is at that point. But then he lost to John Castaneda, lost to Saidnur Magomedov, and then won against Kyung Ho Kang. Kyung Ho Kang just retired from the sport. He kind of had one foot out the door already. He's an older guy. And he still out-grappled Muin to a decent degree. Now, Rinya, if you're not familiar, this guy has grappling accolades like you wouldn't believe. Not necessarily jiu-jitsu grappling, but just pure wrestling, freestyle wrestling. I mean, this guy is a national competitor, a gold medalist in the Olympics. Rinya Nakamura is the real deal when it comes to wrestling. There are not many people with accolades like this. I think he absolutely smokes Muin in the wrestling. Muin's only hope is that he just catches a weird guillotine on the way down from one of the takedowns. Give me Rinya for like 4 takedowns, 13 minutes of control time, and a lot of ground and pound. I'm taking a shot on Rinya Nakamura by ground and pound knockout because I think Muin might be trying to get a win. I think he's 1-2 in the UFC. A loss here doesn't exactly look the best for him. And I think Rinya Nakamura is going to be trying to get that finish. Knocked out Toshiomi Kazama in the first round. That was a great knockout. And I think he's going to be chasing that high again, getting Rinya by ground and pound, 3rd round. Next fight up, we have Karol Rosa taking on Ailin Perez. Now, would you be surprised to know that Ailin Perez is actually older than Karol Rosa? Looking at these pictures and just kind of who they are in the octagon, you'd never imagine that. But it is what it is. Very unsimilar fight styles. Karol Rosa, high volume striker, multiple fights, over 100 significant strikes landed. Ailin Perez, pressure forward grappler. She used to have the nickname Nurmagomedov. I don't know why she changed that back. She had it for like all of a day. But I mean, she kind of fights like that. Pressure forward grappler. She's going to shoot 10 takedowns. She might only get 2, but she's going to shoot 10. Now, Karol Rosa a couple years ago did kind of get Russell fucked by Sarah McMahon. Obviously, Sarah McMahon, an Olympic silver medalist wrestler. Ailin Perez is nowhere near that, but she is a relentless grappler. The books are saying that Ailin Perez is not going to get the takedowns. In my opinion, I think she can get a takedown or 2. I just think Karol Rosa is going to do enough on the feet to kind of keep her at bay. This fight is very, very hard to pick because it is just a total clash of 2 styles, and generally I go with the grappler in a grappler versus striker matchup. I just think Karol Rosa's volume is going to be so much. This fight right here has all the makings of split decision, in my opinion. I think Karol Rosa is going to land a lot of volume on the feet. Ailin Perez is going to get the takedowns. She's going to get some wrestling control time. Maybe a little bit of ground and pound. I don't think she's going to get the finish on the ground. I don't think Karol Rosa is going to knock out Ailin Perez. I just think this is going to be a very hard fight for the judges to score, and I would not be surprised even a little bit if this fight goes to split decision. For my official pick, give me Karol Rosa by split decision. Again, do not go running to the books to bet on this fight. At 2-1 odds, I don't think Karol Rosa is a good bet. I'm going to bet the fight to go to split decision. That's the bet I'm going to lock in. Actually, like right now while I'm recording this, I'm locking this in. Next fight up, we have Grant Dawson taking on Diego Ferreira. Now, this fight right here is very interesting. The line went super wide. Grant Dawson was like minus 350. Then he dropped all the way to like minus 240. people can't seem to make up their minds. I think a lot of people are just looking at the Bobby Green fight and thinking Diego Ferreira is going to put Grant Dawson out. I can't necessarily say that I agree. I think Grant Dawson's a phenomenal grappler. I think he's going to dominate Diego Ferreira on the mats. Now, obviously, I'm not throwing any shade to Diego Ferreira. This guy's a very nice grappler. He has some good transitions, smooth transitions even. Some great takedown defense. He defended a lot of takedowns against Gregor Gillespie, some against Gamrot. I just think Grant Dawson, he's putting it together. This guy's the complete package now. He has a modest striking. Obviously, his striking is not his strong suit. It's not going to be the best tool in his arsenal. But in his last fight against Rafa Garcia, we saw the overhand right into the takedown. Beautifully done. And I just don't think that Grant Dawson's like that chinny. I think against Bobby Green, lightning struck. Bobby Green landed just the perfect shot. I don't think if they fought 100 times, I think that happens once. I think Bobby Green is tapping out or going unconscious probably close to 85 to 90 times if they run that fight 100 times. I just think that was a complete fluke. Grant Dawson obviously addressed the flaws in his striking. He's working on the striking a lot more. Training out of American Top Team, one of the best gyms in the entire country. I'm being 100% honest with you. I mean, you got guys like Grant Dawson, Movsar Evloev, Mateusz Gamrot, fucking Biggie Boy, like Dustin Poirier. I know for a fact Grant Dawson's been getting in some work with Dustin Poirier. I'm assuming some work with Mateusz Gamrot. And I mean, you got guys like overseas guys like Magomedov Molotov. There's that guy who's making his debut now against Zach Reese. His name is blanking me. I think it's like Kingpin something. Very high-level fighters at this gym. Thiago Moises just picked up a nice win from that gym. And I just think he's going to be too much for Diego Ferreira. I am by no means calling Diego Ferreira a quitter when I say what I'm about to say next. Don't take it that way. This guy would beat the living shit out of me no matter where the fight went. I want to preface that. I can't say that enough. But Diego Ferreira, when he gets taken down and dominated on the ground, he doesn't seem to have the same will to continue as when he's up on the feet in control of the fight. Against Beneil Dariush, he's lost twice by kind of Russell decisions. Beneil Dariush, very high-level grappler, similar style to Grant Dawson in a way. Beneil Dariush used to be a lot more kind of lay and pray type of Grant Dawson approach to a fight. Now, Diego Ferreira also got TKO'd by Gregor Gillespie. You know, after that fight, when he got TKO'd, Gregor Gillespie stood up and he screamed to the commentary booth, "That's all heart. That's my heart." Because he made Diego Ferreira quit. He got in positions and he was pounding him down so badly, Diego Ferreira just covered up and didn't want to continue. Against Mateusz Gamrot, Gamrot was just relentless, taking him down over and over and over. He landed a knee strike to the side from the back. I think it was a rib injury that it caused. Diego Ferreira instantly, when that knee landed, he looked up at the ref. He's waving the ref off, like, stop the fight, stop the fight. Right as he did that, Gamrot snatched up a choke. I think he would have finished that fight regardless of whether he tapped to the strikes or not. I just don't think that when Diego Ferreira is on the ground, he has the same heart, which is crazy to say because in his last fight against Rebecki, he was dominated in that first round, then he came back. He came back hard in that third, and that showed a lot of heart. So it's kind of hard for me to say. I mean, at 39, are you really developing that much kind of love for the fight game? But he seems to be. I do think Grant Dawson's going to take him down. He is going to get to mount, and I think Grant Dawson's going to pound away for a TKO stoppage. All right, I said I was going to keep this video a little bit quicker, but I can see myself getting long-winded, so we're going to speed it up a little bit. Zach Reese taking on Azamat Bikoyev. This is the dude I was just talking about in that last fight now. Azamat Bikoyev has some phenomenal wins. I mean, he has an amateur win over Magomedov Molotov. Zach Reese, on the other hand, I think is also a great fighter. I think this is a bad fight for Azamat just because of the short nature notice. I mean, he's going to a split decision with Dylan Budka. He did not look impressive in that fight whatsoever. Zach Reese has been doing great things in the octagon. I think his loss to Cody Brundage was a total fluke. He had him in a triangle, whatever. Jose Medina, he gassed out a little bit trying to finish him. You're not going to finish Jose Medina. Yeah, I mean, Jose Medina, he's got a fight coming up against like Teba Gauthier, I believe his name is, from the Contender Series. Crazy knockout. That guy fucking smoked the guy in the second round, if I'm remembering that fight correctly. I just think Zach Reese is a great fighter. I think he's well-rounded. He's come into like a well-versed game. I think he is going to pressure forward with the wrestling, but he showed that he can spark people on the feet too. I don't think he's a fish out of water on the feet. I think he can handle his own there. I think he can knock Azamat out on the feet, or if he wants to take him to the ground, he can finish him there too. If this fight was full camp for Azamat, I do believe it's a lot closer. However, given the circumstances, I gotta pick Zachary Reese here. Then we got Jailton Almeida taking on Sergey Spivak. I'm gonna keep this one real brief. I do not care how decent Sergey Spivak looked against Marcin Tybura. He got taken down. He hit a nasty little armbar. Beautifully done. Beautifully executed. I'm not taking that away. You just don't hold a candle to the jiu-jitsu prowess of Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida is going to walk forward, throw his little snatched front kick, and he's going to shoot that takedown. He is going to get that takedown. He's going to put Sergey Spivak on his face. He's going to jump on the back, and he's going to either ground and pound him or head and arm choke him and submit him in the first round. I don't think Sergey Spivak is going to be able to do anything in this fight. Best case scenario for Spivak, he reverses Almeida and ends up in Almeida's guard. I think in that scenario, Almeida is just going to kick him away, stand back up, take him down again. I just don't think there's a single thing in the world Sergey Spivak can do to beat Jailton Almeida, and Jailton Almeida is the lock of the night for me. Another one, you guys don't need me to sit here for hours and hours ranting about Peyton Talbot, how good he is. Raoni Barcelos, yes, he is a Brazilian wrestling champion way back. He's not that anymore. Would I be surprised if he gets a takedown? No, not really. But Peyton Talbot's going to knock out Raoni Barcelos. You don't need me to sit here and explain why. Way younger. In the physical prime. Raoni Barcelos has been chinny ever since Umar. He's getting rocked around all over the place. And Peyton Talbot's just an elite striker. That's all there really is to it. I don't want to get like Peyton Talbot glaze accusations. I mean, the guy's pretty talented. I think when he fights the higher level wrestlers, he will lose. But I don't think Raoni Barcelos is a high level wrestler right now. I think back in the day, this would have been a very tough fight. But as of right now, I just don't see Raoni Barcelos being able to do a whole lot. Give me Peyton Talbot by a round 1 knockout. All right, next fight up here, we have Bogdan Guskov taking on Billy Illichana. Now, these odds right here listed on screen are not correct at all. I mean, plus 136 on Bogdan would be insane for this. But I do think Billy Illichana is a pretty damn good fighter. Super technical. He doesn't really seem to have like a lot of pop in his hands. I'm watching some of his fights. Something of note, he has an amateur win over Brian Battle in the light heavyweight division. Brian Battle, obviously the welterweight now, but he used to fight at heavyweight, and then he dropped to light heavyweight, then middleweight, then welterweight. It's kind of interesting. That was like his last amateur fight, I believe. And then he made his way into the PFL. He's fighting over there. I watched some of those fights. He's gotten some wins over some journeyman type characters like Chuck Campbell, I believe is his name. That was a pretty recent win for him. At the same time, Chuck Campbell's been knocked out by Ozzy Diaz. Ozzy Diaz isn't good at all. So kind of weird there that Billy Illichana couldn't find the finish on him. You have to assume Billy Illichana's kind of been in the gym. Maybe he wasn't expecting this call. But you have to assume this guy was like training for Contender Series, trying to get his name out there. Something like that. I mean, this guy, great fighter on the regionals. He's seen the highs in the PFL. Got a couple wins over there. He's got some early finishes in the LFA. I think he's going to be a fit in the UFC. This guy's Samoan. He's got a chin of steel. Never been knocked out. One loss by decision. And that might be an issue for Bogdan, man. Bogdan, this guy's like a first-round knockout artist. This guy's finishing everyone in the first round. What's going to happen when Bogdan can't finish Billy in the first? I've seen a lot of people are just saying Bogdan by a round 1 knockout just blindly. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Billy's got a hell of a chin on him. I think Bogdan right here is going to have to put in some serious work if he wants to get this finished. I think this fight could go to decision. Now, in the early preview, I kind of hinted that I was taking Bogdan by decision against Johnny Walker. We might be looking at Bogdan by decision against Billy Illichana too. I don't think that's a terrible call. I think Billy's a damn good fighter, super technical. I think he's going to pose a lot of challenges to Bogdan. I could see Billy Illichana finding a way to win this fight on the cards. It's not, man, it's hard to say. I mean, Bogdan, he's just going to close as a massive favorite. Let me check the odds real quick. I mean, yeah, Billy is sitting right now at plus 250 to Bogdan's minus 300. I think that's insane. The over 1.5 is plus 200. I'm going to hit that real quick. Holy smokes, I'm doing this live right now. Yeah, I'm going to have to throw the screenshot of this slip on the screen for you guys right now. This will be a free bet only in the YouTube video. I'm not even going to put this out in the VIP. Got to reward those who watch the YouTube video. Holy shit. I love that, actually. I'm going to go half a unit on the plus 205 for over 1.5 rounds. That is like baked in the fact that Bogdan just doesn't go to decision. But Billy does, man. Billy does. My pick is going to be Bogdan by decision. But I might have to throw a sprinkle on Billy by decision. I'm going to bet the fight to go the distance as well. That's probably going to be like plus 5 or 600. Holy shit. Yeah, I absolutely love that line. Whether it wins or not, I think that's where all the value is right now, just on the over 1.5. Bogdan's a career finisher, but Billy's never been finished. On the main card, Kevin Holland taking on Reiner de Ritter. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I'm picking Reiner de Ritter. I'm picking RDR to beat Kevin Holland here. RDR opened up as a massive underdog in this fight right now as a pick'em for a reason. Kevin Holland, world's better on the feet. Reiner de Ritter, world's better on the ground. Clash of styles. I think Reiner de Ritter's goofy enough to pull this shit off. Kevin Holland, we haven't seen it in a while because he's been fighting down at welterweight. Outside the welterweight rankings, there aren't too many like grapplers, too many rustlers. I mean, he's going to sub Michael Chiesa. Okay, that's a good pick. You pick Kevin Holland there, that's a good pick. But guys, he hasn't fought any like heavy rustlers, grapplers for a while. From what I'm seeing, guys, I think Reiner de Ritter's takedowns are going to be enough to take down Kevin Holland. It's been a while since Kevin Holland's fought someone that's 6'4". I think the last guy would have been Zach Reese on the regional scene. Even MVP isn't this tall. JDM isn't this tall. It's going to be awkward for him. I do think Kevin Holland's going to be able to land. RDR does not have the best striking defense. That was very apparent against Gerald Meerschaert. He was getting outstruck on the feet for a little bit. Then he got crazy. GM3 got a little too close. He got hit with a double hook combo. He got dropped at the end of the first. And then Reiner de Ritter started rustling a little bit more heavily. And look at this picture. I'm going to put this on the screen right above me here. What is Kevin Holland going to do? RDR is so long, he can go for an outside trip, and his leg covers both of your legs. I don't know if people who don't like really rustle or know a lot about rustling or takedowns or anything, this is fucking insane. To be able to do this is crazy. This is an insane thing. I have not seen this fucking ever, probably. I think RDR is going to take Kevin Holland down. I think he's just going to half guard camp him. I think Kevin Holland's going to get frustrated. He's going to do that shit where he pretends like he doesn't care. He pretends like he's just doing this for fun, and these guys are all lame for not wanting to box. And I think we're going to hear some cope on Twitter afterwards. I don't hate Kevin Holland. I think he's an entertaining fighter a lot of the time. His personality is just a little annoying sometimes. He just does that whole shit where he pretends not to care. He says, I don't give a fuck about the belt, but then if you put a belt in front of him, he's going to do everything he can for it. I don't know. I don't think Kevin Holland's going to have what it takes to stop the takedowns. I think RDR is going to win this fight on the cards. Fight that I'm very, very, very excited for. We have Beneil Dariush taking on Renato Moicano. Moicano, as of recent, has been surging. Dariush has been on the decline. Total kind of inverse career trajectories right now. But Dariush is good, man. So is Moicano. I'm not taking anything away. Some of these Moicano fights, it's just, I don't know, man. Against Drew Dober, Drew Dober's winning on the feet. Drew Dober engages in the clinch, and then Drew Dober takes himself down. For some reason, Drew Dober is trying to lat toss Moicano. I can't even put words together to describe my confusion when I see Drew Dober trying to lat drop Moicano. I don't know, man. I just don't know. And then Drew Dober just gets stuck on bottom for the rest of the round. He loses the fight via wet blanket. And then against Jalen Turner's piecing up Moicano on the feet. Sparks him, drops him. Jalen Turner is chasing that $300,000 bonus, so he goes for a walk-off. He throws his hands in the air. He thinks he's won the fight. He goes back. He hasn't won the fight. Moicano has decent recovery. Moicano gets back up. Whatever. He's very clearly still rocked until the end of that round. He got saved by the bell, in my opinion. But more importantly, he got saved by Jalen Turner being a moron and not finishing the fight when he had the knockout. He hops on top. We've seen Jalen Turner's ground and pounding. It's Bobby Green. It's vicious. He finishes Moicano if he hops on top, lands 2 or 3 more strikes. Moicano was severely hurt, and that was just a very, very boneheaded decision by Jalen Turner. And then his last fight against BSD, Moicano looked great. He caught the kick, got the body lock, took him down. Heat of the moment, BSD just forgot how to address that. I don't know. I mean, what I'm about to say is obviously criticism of the grappling by BSD. Benoit Saint-Denis would massacre me in the grappling. I'm not delusional enough to think otherwise. But BSD, just in the heat of the moment when you got a guy on top of you, elbow in your face, he probably wasn't thinking clearly. He probably got concussed pretty early. His eyes swelled shut. You have to either pull Moicano in or address the hips. You got to control the space. He left way too much space between him and Moicano, which allowed Moicano to be postured up, elbowing for like the entire round. You either have to address the hips or pull the head in, do something, work on a sweep. He was just in a bad position from the start. He didn't help himself at all. And Moicano gets the dub. Very good performance by Moicano. I'm not taking anything away from that one. Dariush gets knocked out by Charles Oliveira. Then he gets put against Arman Tsarukyan, knocked out against Arman Tsarukyan. Two pretty rough knockouts. I do think Beneil Dariush is a good fighter, and I don't think Moicano is dangerous. What do you think? Moicano's going to run forward. He's going to take down Dariush with ease, and he's going to ground and pound him out? I just don't think so. Beneil Dariush is a seasoned Russell fucker. We were just talking about earlier, he Russell fucked Diego Ferreira twice. Beneil Dariush more or less negated the grappling of Mateusz Gamrot, one of the best wrestlers this division has probably ever seen in just terms of pure wrestling. Obviously, you got like guys like Islam, Khabib, all that stuff, but just in terms of pure wrestling, grappling, Gamrot is next level. This guy's non-stop, unlimited cardio. He's going forward. He's taking you down. Dariush negated that, beat his ass on the feet. Compare that to the performance Gamrot had against Arman Tsarukyan. I don't know, man. I don't know. Two phenomenal fights. If you haven't seen either of those fights, watch both those fights. They're very entertaining. But Dariush is next level when it comes to wrestling defense and counter wrestling. I think Dariush might even take Moicano down. Moicano isn't a good grappler off of his back, at least from what we've seen or what I've seen recently. Moicano is phenomenal on top. If I had to rate their ground and pound, Moicano has worlds better ground and pound than Dariush. But I think the trick to beating Moicano is either A, you outstrike him on the feet. You're a guy like Jalen Turner. You just don't make that one mistake, okay? If you can piece out Moicano on the feet, which a lot of people can, I think even Dariush could. I think Dariush, albeit he's chinny, so is Moicano. Neither of these guys have phenomenal chins, and I think Dariush has more of that one-shot kill power. I'm not going to pick Dariush by flatline knockout, but I mean, you saw what he did to Gamrot with that overhand left. I think it's going to be a little bit awkward with the stance. Dariush obviously standing across from Moicano there. I think the overhand is going to be there. Moicano doesn't have the best striking defense in the world. And I think Dariush would be smart to take down Moicano. I think he will take down Moicano. And for that reason, I'm going Dariush by decision. I would not be surprised if Moicano wins this fight. I'm just going to put that out there. Dariush is not my most confident pick on the card, but he's a guy that I have not lost faith in. You can't lose faith on a guy for losing to the guy fighting for the title on this card and Charles Oliveira. Arman Tsarukyan is probably going to be the future of this division once Islam moves to 170. I don't see anyone else beating Arman Tsarukyan for a while. And Charles Oliveira, he's like a top 5, maybe even a top 3 lightweight ever. He's probably top 3 right now, maybe number 2. I wouldn't put him at number 2. I'd probably put him in the number 3 spot. You obviously have Islam, Khabib above him. Whichever order you want to put those in. I think after Islam, if Islam beats Arman, I think he passes Khabib, but that's just my opinion. So yes, give me Dariush by decision. Not a high confidence call, but for dog money, I think he's worth a shot. Here we are. Jiri Prochazka, we meet again. You look in the back, or am I going over here? You see the flag. You know who I'm rooting for. You know who I'm picking. But let me break it down and tell you why. I'm not just trying to be a biased fan. I looked into this fight. I was looking for reasons to pick Jiri, albeit, but I was also looking for reasons to pick Hill. Because I think it would show a lot of character if I could pick against Jiri with having this flag in the background, all my Jiri merchandise, all that stuff. I think it would show a lot if I could pick Jamal Hill to win, but I just can't. Jamal Hill has no footwork. He has no speed. He has overrated power. And he has not equally as bad striking defense, but he has pretty terrible striking defense. You guys want to run the numbers? Everyone's talking about Jiri's so hittable. Jiri's going to get smoked. He doesn't have defense. Jamal Hill's striking defense is fucking 6% better. That means if there's 100 strikes being thrown, Jamal Hill is going to get hit with 6 less than Jiri. And guess what? In a division like light heavyweight where there is raw power, it don't take 100 shots. The striking defense is not that far off. It's about the same. Jamal Hill had like a 60% striking defense, like some elusive head movement. Sure, absolutely. He doesn't. Jamal Hill gets hit. And then everyone wants to talk about the Glover fight. I'm going to tell you this one more time. Glover left his soul in the octagon when he fought Jiri Prochazka. That was one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. Probably the best fight I've ever seen in my life. An absolute war. Both guys grounded down to absolutely nothing. And just pure grit and determination was going to determine who won that fight. Jiri doesn't quit. Jiri will never quit. He's going to come forward. He's going to do what he does. It doesn't matter. You have to put Jiri out cold if you want to stop him in his tracks. And I don't think Jamal Hill can do that. If he catches him, absolutely, you know what? I'll take it back. I think Jamal Hill's power is overrated. I mean, we're gassing this guy's power for knocking out Johnny Walker and Jimmy Crute. Really? That's what we're doing now? That's what we're gassing this guy up for? This guy's a knockout artist for taking down those two? Oh, my bad. He TKO'd Thiago Santos in round 4, 5 fights removed from the John Jones fight where his knees were taken and never returned. On a 4-fight losing skid, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, my bad. 1-5 in his last 6 with a win over Johnny Walker. That's what Thiago Santos was doing when Jamal Hill beat him to earn a title shot. Glover didn't have anything left in the tank after the Yuri fight, like I said. You want to talk about accuracy? Yuri Prochazka landed at a better percentage than Jamal Hill did against Glover, a better SIG strike percentage. Jamal Hill landed 240 significant strikes and not one single knockdown. Now, I'm not saying Yuri Prochazka is the most fucking lethal guy in the world. He's going to one-shot KO anybody. Jamal Hill isn't either. That's what I am saying. I've seen a lot of people saying there's going to be a power differential. Why? Jamal Hill landed over 100 more strikes on Glover, still didn't get a knockdown. I understand Glover has a chin of steel. The old man's got some grit. But it's not like he's never been knocked down before. I mean, Gus got him twice. Thiago Santos put him down. Carl Roberson put him down. I mean, it's not like it's impossible. And I'm just sick and tired of people saying that Jamal Hill has that one-shot power. He doesn't. I made that mistake too. When I was looking into the Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill fight, I was low-key, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was low-key picking Jamal Hill because I thought he had that pop. He had that power. He doesn't. We found that out. And he has no fucking footwork. He let Alex Pereira step on his foot to TKO him. I'm saying TKO, but that was a KO. He was pretty much out from the second he hit the mat. But I understand there were some weird circumstances, whatever. He still didn't have any single ounce of movement. He plants his feet, he throws. That's how he does it. Yes, he has a head kick. Yes, Alex Pereira just head kick knocked out Yuri. I don't care. Jamal Hill is going to hit Yuri with some good shots. I would not be surprised if Yuri gets dropped once. Not surprised one bit. But the difference is, if Yuri gets dropped, he's getting back up and he's doing whatever the fuck it takes to win this fight. If Jamal Hill gets dropped, he's shelling up in a ball and dying. Yuri Prochazka has more grit, more determination. He's way faster. I think Yuri Prochazka could land 3 shots before Jamal Hill lands 2. I think he's that much faster than Jamal Hill. And I think when they're on the feet, Jamal Hill is going to feel the power. I don't think Jamal Hill has the best chin in the world. Better chin than some, maybe. I don't think he has the best chin. I think Yuri Prochazka is going to let him know the power. And let's just put it this way. If anyone's going to shoot for a takedown, it's going to be Yuri. Will he get it? Maybe. But I think the threat's going to be there. I think Yuri might even attempt a takedown. Maybe he gets one. I don't know. I think this fight's going into probably the 2nd and 3rd round. And I think Yuri Prochazka is going to TKO Jamal Hill in the 3rd round. We got Merab Dvalishvili taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. Now this fight's another one where I do have a guy that I think wins the fight. I'm leaning Umar with relative certainty at this point. I mean, in the early picks video, I said I was going to make it fun. I was going to pick Merab. I can't stick with that anymore. I think Umar is going to be too much. My point remains, we have never seen Umar taken down on his back. We haven't seen anyone shoot on Umar really besides Ronnie Barcelos once, and I think Corey Sandhagen feinted a takedown and they counted it as an attempt. I just don't know how Merab's going to fare on the feet. I think this fight can be broken down. I'm not saying Umar is on the same level as Sean O'Malley on the feet. I'm not saying that. But I think you can break this fight down similarly to that fight on the assumption that he's going to be able to stop the takedowns unlike O'Malley. I think Umar is going to be the better striker than Merab. I don't think that's up for debate. I think that's pretty clear. I don't think Umar is a phenomenal striker, but he's super technical and he's better than Merab on the feet. If he can stop the takedowns, at least to a decent degree, better than O'Malley could, because some people really had O'Malley winning 2 rounds. I think O'Malley won 1 round, but he was probably close to winning 2 rounds. If Umar can just stuff the takedowns in half the rounds, he wins this fight 3-2. Now, a lot of people are saying he's going to stop the takedowns every round. I've seen some takes saying Merab's not going to land a single takedown. I think that's a little crazy. Merab's going to be trying takedowns for 25 minutes no matter what's happening. I think Umar is going to be better on the feet. I think he's going to technically strike with Merab, and he's going to win a very boring decision, probably 4 rounds to 1, 3 rounds to 2 type of situation. And Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. Obviously, everyone knows we saw this. Arman's debut, he's 22 years old, going against another very raw Islam Makhachev. And I just don't think that this fight's going to go too much differently. I think Islam has evolved to the next level. Arman has obviously evolved to the next level too. I don't think Islam Makhachev should be a minus 400 favorite. I think that's a little absurd. I think that's ridiculous. Don't bet Islam minus 400. I can't really see Islam losing this fight. I don't think Arman. Now, obviously, Arman took down Islam once in their first fight. He went 1 for 12 on takedowns. Islam, I believe, landed like 4 for 9 or 4 for 8 or something like that. Arman was close, man. There were a couple times the commentators were like cheering for Arman to get a takedown. There was a couple times they're like, "Oh, that doesn't count, but he's so close," and it was like, I don't know. It was cool to see. I think the commentary wanted this to be a competitive fight. It was. I mean, 14 significant strikes to 13 was the first fight totals. Like, Islam was just the better fighter. He had more control on the ground. He won the scrambles, and I think it's going to be a lot of the same. I think this fight gets a little dicey if Arman lands on top for a little bit. Islam obviously has that scar tissue from Poirier. I think that if Arman can open that up, he makes this a very competitive fight on the cards. I think that Islam's probably going to look like he got hit by a car after this fight if Arman can even win one round. Because Islam's going to be bleeding badly. That cut's going to open, I promise. If Islam can walk away without a scratch in this fight, I'll take back everything I said. I'm sorry for disrespecting you. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Islam's going to win the scrambles. He's going to initiate the grappling. Arman is going to be faster. That's Arman's advantage in this fight. I don't think he's going to have the striking edge, though. I think Islam's a better striker. Obviously, we saw him striking with Poirier with a staph infection. That was pretty crazy. He still outstruck Poirier. The threat of the takedown is real. It opens up so much on the feet. I don't necessarily think Arman's afraid of being taken down. He was there last time. He can go there again and be fine. And I just think Islam's going to do enough to win this fight on the cards. I think if it gets into those late rounds, Arman starts getting desperate. He might open something up for Islam. He can sneak in that Darce that he loves. Something like that. Just some kind of weird front choke that Arman's going to have on a takedown attempt. I don't know. I can see Islam potentially getting a finish, but I think this fight's more than likely going long. So give me Islam Makhachev by decision. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. Let me know in the comments if my picks are shit or if my picks are good. What do you think of them? Let me know your lock of the night in the comments right now. I'm going to be responding to all these comments before the fight coming up this weekend. Let's talk some fights in the comments. Let's talk some fights in the Discord. Join. It's free, man. Why not? Top link in the description. Come check us out. See what we got to offer. We're giving out free plays all the time. And I hope to see you guys in there, man. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.